All right, so you are with us for How to Look Good on Zoom with Ginger Burr. She is the owner and founder of Total Image Consulting, and she has over 30 years of experience. She started out as a model, as you can see.
I didn't.
You tried
You're
to
so cute. You're so cute. Yes, I went to modeling school.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Trying to learn about fashion, but they told me I was not model material. So you're so cute. You're adorable.
I think we all disagree. But I mean, really, no, you're very strikingly put together, and that's one way that that's one thing that makes people feel comfortable about trusting you with their appearance, because they know that you do a really good job with your own, and obviously you're maximizing your appearance. So the first question I was going to ask is why we should care. I have talked to people who definitely feel like it's Zoom. I'm at home. Who cares? There are TV commercials now joking about, you're not wearing any pants, are you? And right, it's so I'm curious. What do you say to people when they say, "Hey, I just don't care"?
Yeah, it's. Do you want me to answer that now, or when I get into the presentation? Yeah. Oh, okay, great. Well, it gets into a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about, and that is, why are you on Zoom? Why are you here? Are you in a meeting with your colleagues? Are you talking to your mother? Are you in a job interview, or doing a presentation? Those are all very, very different things, and you may care to a different degree for each of those things. But it's all about not only how we're perceived, but also how it affects your own self-confidence. So there's a lot that goes into this, but if you're just talking with your, brother who lives, another state over, then, do it in your pajamas. Who cares? With bedhead, who cares? Hey. But, if you're going to an interview, or you're interviewing someone else, you want to show up as your best self, I think.
And truth be told, I interviewed for this job completely remotely, and still have only met most of my board through the computer.
Wow.
So it's, I agree. One thing I forgot to say, I'm sorry, let me just say to everyone, I'm going to keep everyone on mute for most of this meeting while Ginger does her presentation, but there will be plenty of time for questions afterwards. And so we, definitely, I want to make sure that you are able to do that. But first, we're going to let Ginger just talk. So
great. Just tell me when you're ready, and
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to.
All right.
Someone sent me, you go ahead and get started. Someone sent me a question about how to get on, and I just want to make sure that I get them on. So if I look distracted.
I'm going to share my screen.
Please go ahead.
PowerPoint that I have, and then we'll go from there. So, host disabled attendee screen sharing. So could you give me screen sharing?
I certainly will. Okay, give it a try.
Oh, good, we're good.
Okay.
All right, just give me 1 second to get this in show mode and get you all up here in the corner. And I do like to, although Erin is going to keep an eye on the chat, I do like to have the chat box open in case there are questions over there that you want to ask me. But thank you, Erin, for having me here. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, because the whole world went wacky a number of months ago, and this is how we're all doing business now, is on Zoom. And I remember that this is all about, just as you can see here, it's how to maximize your potential, boost your self-confidence, and actually look forward to your next Zoom meeting. I have a client of mine that when we all dramatically and without any notice basically went virtual, she emailed me a couple of weeks after this was all going on, and she said, I had never done a Zoom meeting before, and I had no idea I was going to be able to see myself. She said that was the worst part. She got on, and she was so distracted by the fact that she didn't like the way she looked and how she was showing up that it was hard for her to concentrate on the reason she was there. So I helped her a lot in how to change that so that she felt better, because yes, not only are we seeing everybody we're in a meeting with, but we're right there front and center in a little square box. So it's good to make sure that you feel great about how you're showing up. There we go. All right, so I'm Ginger Burr from Total Image Consultants. I've been an image consultant for over 30 years. I do work exclusively with women, although I do have a few pictures of men in here because I knew there might be some men who came to the meeting. And I started doing this work because I struggled for many, many, many years up until I was 30 with how to put myself together. And then once I learned the tools that I now teach my clients, I realized that I had an affinity for it. I picked it up very quickly. I enjoyed it. It made such a huge difference for me that I figured it was a way for me to empower women to reduce the stress when they're getting dressed and then replace that with more joy and ease, because getting dressed should be easy. And a lot of times now that we've gone so virtual, people think, yeah, it's just so easy. You just hop on Zoom and you're done. We don't even have to, as Erin said earlier, you don't even have to put on pants if you don't want to. And you don't have to leave the house. But there's still a lot that goes into putting all of this together. So I'm going to walk you through all of the steps so that you can feel more confident in your virtual online presence. So if just the thought of having to get dressed to go to a Zoom meeting gives you a headache, or you're like, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know what I don't know, then you're in the right place, because we're gonna have some fun with this. All right, so this is going even deeper. Erin asked me this question, which is an important question, and I want to lead off with this. Well, why is it important to look good when you're on Zoom? And there are a number of reasons. One is it depends on why you're in the meeting. As I mentioned earlier, if you are meeting someone for the first time, a potential client, or you're interviewing somebody, or you're being interviewed, any of those kinds of things, you're in a meeting where it's the first time you're going to the meeting, you want to create a really good first impression. And when you feel good about how you show up in a meeting, then it boosts your self-confidence, and it also affects how other people perceive you, not only because of the way you look, but because of your energy. When you have good self-confidence, people pick up on that energy. It increases your self-confidence. It's so visual. It's harder because we're only being seen from here up. This is all someone has to go on. It's harder to read body language. Yes, they can hear you when you're actually speaking and hear the words you're saying and your tone of voice and all of that, but most of our presentation is visual. So let's make the most of that and use it to our advantage. And then what I mean by the insider info is, this is your opportunity to really, and I work on this with my clients, whether they're meeting people in person or they're going on Zoom, it doesn't matter. I think anytime we get dressed, what's really important is to feel like you're dressing in a way that is authentic to you, that feels like you, so that not only do you feel at home in your body and how you're presenting yourself, but also other people, you're giving them clues as to who you are, and they then can pick up on that authenticity and know how to relate to you. So it's a win-win, actually. So what I'm going to talk about here are 5 steps to looking good on Zoom. So it's not just about what you wear. In fact, that's what we're going to cover last. Your setup and your lighting, critical. Without that, it doesn't matter what you're wearing at all, and you'll see why in a minute. Your background is really important. I have some visuals of all of this actually for you to see. Controlling noise, we'll talk about that as well. Professional courtesy and personal presence, leaving that till the end, and that's where we get into what to wear. So I'll go into in-depth in all of this and show you pictures of everything. So let's talk first about good setup and lighting. And as we go along, if you have questions, really feel free to put them in the chat. Erin's going to be watching the chat while I'm presenting, so feel free to do that, and I'm happy to address them as we go along, or you can save them till the end, whatever you need. So you want to avoid several kinds of lighting. One is overhead lighting. First of all, it will make all of us look about 10 years older than we are, because, or more tired, like we haven't slept in months, because what it does, and you may have seen this like when you're in department store dressing rooms, they tend to have these overhead lighting, and then you get shadows under your eyes, or maybe even in your bathroom. If you have overhead lighting in your bathroom, it creates shadows on your face and isn't giving you nice, clean, clear light. You don't want backlighting, so you don't want either lights on the wall behind you, particularly if they're really bright, and you don't want your back to a window, because what it does is it puts you in a silhouette so that you become very shaded and it's much harder to see your face. So good lighting is facing natural light. So if you have a window, turn your desk if you can, or your camera, your phone, whatever it is, your laptop, put it so that you are facing the window. You don't want direct sunlight on your face, but you want the glow of the natural light to be on your face. It's very soft, natural lighting. Or you can use a ring light. Now, for instance, I'm here, I have a desktop. I do not have a laptop. So I have a desktop, so I have a wall that I'm facing. So I have several different lights. I'm going to show you what I use in a minute, because they, believe me, I've experimented. I have more lights than, you know, TV stations do, I think, because I have tried it all. But these, a natural light or a ring light, are two ways to make sure that you are showing up well and light and bright and people can actually see you. So I'll get more to lighting in a minute, but when you are at your computer, you want to center yourself in the screen. You want to look straight ahead. So you don't want to be looking way up. You can look up a little. Having the screen a little above is okay. It smooths out the neck, which I think is always good. But you don't want to be looking down. And Erin was, actually Erin, I don't know if they can see you over, well, you could show them. I think you can all see Erin. So show them what it looks like if you have your laptop way down and you're looking down at it.
I was telling her I have my laptop on a stand right now, actually on top of a box, because even the stand is not that tall. So if I didn't move, I would like this.
Okay, and that's not even too terrible, but it is better if some are even down further than that. But it is better when you watch what happens when she lifts it up.
Let's go back. I'm not making anybody seasick by moving all this.
No, you're doing okay. So you have a little setup there for getting it up high. Yeah, there we go. Now you're centered and we can just see your face. It's just a cleaner, neater, the more direct look. So thank you for demonstrating that for everybody. Also adjust your glasses. You want to have them lift the temple parts up a little bit, so that, because otherwise what happens when you have a light in front of you is sometimes you'll get reflection on your light. So you want to tip your glasses down just a little bit. And you want to have good posture. We don't want everybody, you know, slumping like this. So as our mothers all told us as we were growing up, good posture is really important. Plus it helps your breath. All right, so recognize her. Here's Erin. This was Erin in her home. I think you did this from your home. Yes. And you used a virtual background. So I think you said these were pictures from your dining room. Is that what you had told me? Yes, from your dining room. And here she is centered beautifully in the screen with nice lighting. And here's what she looks like when she doesn't have the lighting. Still has the virtual background, but does not have the lighting. You can see how she's in shadow, and here you can see them together. It's a huge difference. The lighting is absolutely critical. So thank you, Erin, for letting me show that, because I think it's a very powerful visual here.
Thank you. You're welcome. And we actually have a question in the chat about eyeglass reflection, whether there's anything else you can do to
I don't know. I don't really know that there is. Because most people have anti-glare on there, but this is such an intense light that you can see if I look up, you can see it there. So which is why I try to tip it down. Now, obviously, sometimes I do look up and you can see it a little, but.
I noticed, in fact, as soon as you logged on, that you're wearing glasses, but we're not seeing a lot of reflection. So obviously that tip works.
It does work. Sometimes you have to, they slip down and then you have to adjust them again, but it does make a difference. It does make a difference. So people can then see your eyes. I mean, all people can see is this part of your body. So they definitely want to be able to see your eyes. So let me know if my glasses slip down. But yeah, I don't know. There may be other things. I don't know what they are. I find that this works pretty well. So it's mostly what I've done. So for lighting, this is in case any of you don't know or don't have a ring light. There are also many different sizes. That's my really giant ring light that you see there. I have like more ring lights than anybody on the planet. I also have this little ring light, which will do the same thing. I use that more when I'm doing my phone and I'm doing a little bit further away. And the setup that I have right now is, let me just show you the next one. I have, oops, that's my big light. I also did put this in here. You can take a screenshot or email me and I'll give you the direct link. This is where I got mine. That's exactly the light I just showed you. So happy to share that with you. It went out of stock for a little while, as you can imagine, right after all the sheltering in place happened. But it's back as far as I know. And then I also have this one. This is a very cool little light. I actually have this on right now, and it has several settings. You can see I have it on there are 3 different settings. It has this setting. It has this setting, which is a little bit warmer, which sometimes I like. It depends on my mood. And then it has this one, which is a little too glary for me. So I usually often keep it on this one. And the other lighting that I have, before I had a ring light, I had these old desk lamps. You know, I don't want to undo it because it'll fling open because it's one on the, I don't even know what you call this, spring. This is kind of on springs. I have this behind my computer and it works very well. So I didn't change it to a ring light because it works fine. Well, I have 2 lights on because I like to make sure I'm well lit. So there are many different sizes and shapes. As you can see, it's a little tiny one, and then you can have the big one, but they work very well. So all of these things will help to create a consistently good online presence and set you up for all the other things that we're going to talk about. So your background, really important. You want, when you're in a professional setting, again, if you're talking to family, who cares? Do what makes you comfortable. And I just noticed that Catherine mentioned OT lights. I think an OT light would work. It's a very clean light. I actually do have an OT light. So sure, I say try what you have right now and see how it works. You can always hop on Zoom and without having to be on Zoom with anybody and just test all of these different things and see what works. But an OT light is a very clean light, so it could work.
I think too, just to interject for a second, the key to the ring lights and the OT light is that they're LEDs. So they don't, the incandescent kind of light diffuses too fast, I believe. And so it doesn't light you as well. So I think that's what the ring lights and the OT light have in common.
Yes, that's definitely true. And what I like about this little one that I have too is it has different settings, so that sometimes I want a little bit warmer setting because I'm very pale. I mean, you can tell that, just look, I can see myself, I'm very pale. And so sometimes just having this little bit of warmth, I just feel better. So, but I like to usually keep it on a little bit brighter when I'm doing this kind of thing. So
another background question here too.
Yes.
So Susan's asking, what are your thoughts about putting a screen right behind you, similar to the one you have to the side of you?
Yes, and it's very interesting that you asked that, Susan, because I've been toying with the idea of getting a tall one. I just haven't been able to decide whether I want it in a print or a solid color or any of those kinds of things, because it will be right there. So yes, you can definitely do. You want it to be simple and not distracting. So get a really pretty tall screen and put it behind you. I think it would be lovely. I think it would be totally lovely. Just make sure it's in colors that you like, and again, not too fussy. I always, I know that sometimes people who are in studios, they have to be in their bedroom, but we've all seen things on the internet about people and trouble they've run into by doing these kinds of things in the bedroom, and people coming in and out, or all kinds of crazy things that happen. But if you need to do it, try not to be sitting on your bed, or try not to have the bed in the picture, particularly if it's a professional setting. And that's where virtual backgrounds can come in if you want them. And I have an example here of Erin again. Again, she made her own virtual background. Zoom has virtual backgrounds that you can upload. But Erin took a picture of her dining room. And so here's what she looks like with her virtual background. Here's what she looked like before she put in the virtual background. So you can see the difference in how much just over here on the left here, it's a lot more distracting and just stuff going on. And she just stands out more, and we can focus on her rather than all the other things that are happening when she has the virtual background. The one thing about virtual backgrounds you have to be a little bit careful of, and it might depend on your computer or the virtual background you're using, but sometimes when you move, your hands disappear or parts of your head disappear. So test them out and move. When you have it there, don't just sit there, because when you're talking, you move. So make sure that parts of you don't disappear. Also with backgrounds, and this could speak back to what Susan was asking, if you do get a screen and it's in a color, make sure that the clothes you're wearing are not the exact same color as the screen, because then you'll just look like a head, and you'll sort of disembodied head. So you want to just pay attention to that a little bit. Probably a neutral color in the back, or maybe a nice print that isn't too busy would be great. All right. So step number 3 is about noise control. And as you saw, Erin put everyone on mute, because there's always background noise that happens with people. And sometimes because we get so used to our own noise and it isn't distracting to us, we don't realize that other people are hearing it. But anything that's in your background, obviously if you're presenting, then you just try to be in a quiet place. But if you're not, then putting yourself on mute, or the leader will put people on mute, is a really good idea. So I recommend keeping yourself muted, unless, particularly if you're in a bigger group, keep yourself muted unless you need to speak. And I don't know if you all know this, but if you're muted and you hit your space bar on your keyboard, it will unmute you temporarily, and then as soon as you let go of the space bar, it will mute you again, so you don't have to remember to mute yourself again. It's a very handy tip. Be sure to silence your phone. That's one of the things that we all forget, is to take the ringer off. When we silence it, not only will we not hear it ring, but we won't hear it, it pings all the time when you get a million texts coming in. So silence your phone before you come in. I close my email because, again, my email bings constantly, and I don't like that distraction while I'm in a meeting. And then if you aren't muted, mute yourself if you need to type, because it's surprising how noisy keyboards can be. And I've been in meetings where people have actually asked people to mute when they're typing. Well, you might be typing for a very related reason. You might be taking notes, but if you aren't actually the one speaking, just mute yourself. Really important. I saw a question over here.
Yeah, before we move to the next step, Jill asked a question about how do you feel about just plain white background?
I think, white background can be fine. Just don't wear white if you're going to have a white background. I think sometimes it's nice to have a color, but I don't see any reason why you can't have just a plain white background. Okay. All right. So, all right. Step number 4 is professional courtesy. And, I think people forget sometimes that and I mentioned this way back in the beginning, it's very visual. People can see you the whole time you're here. If you're in a meeting And in person, you know, you can, maybe you might not be quite as noticed if it's a bigger meeting, but when you're on Zoom, it's noticeable. So be present, pay attention. Don't be like this one right here. Try not to multitask. We've all done that when we've been on meetings, but it's really obvious. When you're on the phone, it's one thing. When you're on Zoom, it's very obvious when you're multitasking, and it's very distracting to the other people attending. So pretend whatever you would do in a meeting in person, do when you're on Zoom. So pay attention, even if it's boring, pay attention. And I know there's this temptation to turn your camera off. And if you're in a large meeting, then yes, if you need to go do something else, or you need to eat your lunch and you're in a giant meeting, then go ahead, turn your camera off. But if you're in a small meeting, I don't recommend turning your camera off, at least not without letting people know that you're disappearing for a minute, because it's very disruptive to all of a sudden have your face disappear and just your name is across the screen. So we don't feel like we're talking to real people when that happens. So just let people know, gotta go and answer the door, whatever it is that you have to do, gotta run, I'll be right back. You don't even have to say why, just I'll be right back. And let them know there's a reason you're turning it off. If you're in a large meeting, no big deal. In fact, I recommend that you turn it off if you're going to be doing things that are distracting or that you don't want other people to see, because when you're on Zoom, you are visible and somebody will see whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, and I did notice there was a question over here about headphones. I actually don't wear headphones. I did have one of my clients give me, she wears the really big ones, and she gave me the name of them, and I can get them to you, that name to you, Susan, if you want. I happen to have, even though my computer's older, I happen to have very good audio on my computer. So I have never used headphones or earbuds or any of that. Yeah, when there's lawn mowing outside your window, yes, that's not a bad idea. But I can get that name for you. Or does anyone else who's watching here have a particular headphone or earbuds that I think the headphones are probably better when you're trying to also block out the noise. If you have a kind that you like, please put it here in the chat so other people know. And I see that Patricia says, how do you ensure the name on your window is correct? I actually don't know the answer to that question.
Well, I can answer that one.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
So if you hover over your own face, you'll see 3 dots. It says mute, and then there's also a 3 dots menu. When you click on that, rename is one of the options, so you can change your name right from there.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Erin. That's great.
Absolutely. You know what? We had a multi-chamber networking event last week, and the very first thing that we said to everyone was, please make sure that your name is visible, because you get into meetings, especially large ones, and it's like Mike's iPhone or just the phone number or something like that. And yes, especially for networking purposes, you can't really learn anything about someone if their name on the screen is Mike's iPhone.
Right. Yes. Great point. Excellent point. All right. So Janelle says, I have a snoring dog, made the mistake of ordering noise canceling headphones, need microphone canceling headphones. I use the ones for Dragon Natural Speaking, so when I dictate, it does not pick up my dog snoring. That's a riot, Janelle. And thank you. That's helpful. So anyone else, also feel free to post things in here, because these tools are very helpful to everybody. So personal presence allows you to feel confident, stand out in an authentic way, and maintain focus on you with no distractions. This is where we get into what do you wear. So again, like your background, mostly you want to keep it simple. So you want to wear a beautiful color. I'm going to show you examples of all of these in a minute. A beautiful color, nothing too fussy for a number of reasons. Check your teeth and your hair before you go online. I have a friend of mine, she had recorded a webinar. Thankfully, nobody was watching because she was just recording it. And at the end, she went back just to check it to make sure it was there. And she noticed that she had something in her teeth. So she had to go back, and because it felt too weird to her, she had to go back and re-record that half-hour webinar. So just do a quick check in the mirror of your teeth and your hair, and so that you don't notice all those things for the first time when you actually get on Zoom and see yourself there, because then it's harder to go and do something about it. And you know what? When in doubt, I'm a big believer in smiling, even if you're bored, or even if you don't feel that great about how you look. Smile. It goes a long way to lifting your energy and connecting with people. And this is, a lot of this it's still about connecting with people, just in a different way. So there are 3 steps to creating your personal style. Actually, I should say there are 3 first steps. There are actually a number of steps, but these are the steps I work with all of my clients on first and foremost. And they relate, particularly 2 of them, relate incredibly to being on Zoom, being anywhere actually, but also being on Zoom. One is color. You really want to wear colors that make you shine. And that's slightly different for everybody. Although I'm going to show you some samples of colors that look good on a lot of people. Fit is really important. Obviously we only have to worry about fit from, the chest up here, but it's still an issue. Not as big an issue as when you're dressing head to toe, but still an issue. And self-expression, I'm going to get into that a little bit too. I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but we're going to go into it a little bit deeper here.
I want to point out that another thing that I noticed as soon as you logged on, Ginger, is that your blouse is the exact same color as your eyes.
Yes. It's, it is a way when you wear colors that look great on you, they bring the focus to you. They don't overpower you. They don't make you disappear and fade away into the background. They can make your eye color sparkle. They can make your skin glow. All of those things when you're wearing colors that look amazing on you. So here I'm giving you some examples. These are colors, when in doubt, wear a beautiful shade of blue. It will work on almost everybody, pretty much everybody. Or teal. Teal is another one that just tends to look good on a lot of people. So here you'll see 3 different shades of blue, couple shades of teal, 1 shade of green. That shade of green actually looks pretty good on a lot of people. And I included a couple of shades of pink tones. Those can be a little bit tricky. If you're somebody who has a lot of natural pinkness in your skin, be careful about the pink tones. You'll need to be sure that you're wearing exactly the right pink or red, or actually this is also true for purple, tone, or what will happen is it will make the pink or redness in your skin even more obvious and sometimes look ruddy rather than just like a lovely healthy pink. It'll make you look very ruddy. So if you have a lot of pink or red, I would probably stick more to the teals and the blues and greens, those kinds of colors, unless you're absolutely sure about the pink tones for you. Or you can use a little bit of concealer. Sometimes using a concealer that has a little bit of green in it will help to cut the pink and red, but just a little bit of concealer can soften that, and then it's not as big an issue. And see, I included a few pictures of men here, also in the blues and the teal, and I showed this is a beautiful shade of purple that works for, it can be overpowering on some people, but it's a lovely shade on someone maybe with darker hair, because it kind of balances that way. And if you don't have a lot of redness in your skin, this color will definitely bring out the redness in your skin if you have that there. So just be aware of that. All right, now I'm going to show you some Zoom friendly colors. And the reason that I've called them that is, well, partly you can see this red on the right with Mary Jo is similar to one of the pink reds I showed you earlier, but it's a perfect shade of pinky, brick red, whatever color you want to call it here, on her. The colors on the left, she just disappears. And you don't want to disappear, particularly when you're in a meeting where either you're presenting or you're in an interview or in some way need to be making a really great first impression and feel good about how you look. So in the color, this color balances with her natural coloring perfectly. And same thing here with Diane. She just disappears in these this light print over here. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not making her stand out like this gorgeous shade of periwinkle. Periwinkle's a beautiful color. It's just a kind of a blue with a little tiny bit of purple in it. Just a beautiful color. And you can see the solid, not that you can't do prints, and I'm actually going to show you some in a minute, but prints are busier and they do take focus away from you. So when in doubt, wearing a solid color just makes it really easy. You can see she added a little necklace here. It all pulls together beautifully. And here's Diane again, and you can see she needs more substantial colors to balance her coloring, also to balance her personality, but to balance her coloring. And the thing that's really important here in these colors on the right is that these are actually similar colors, a little heightened obviously, but similar colors to our natural coloring. We have a red pink that really blends in well with the red and the pink in her skin. We have that kind of brownish color that relates to her eyes and her hair. And we have the creamy tones that relate to her skin. So what she's doing there is wearing a lot of colors that actually relate to her natural coloring. And that makes her even more approachable. When you wear colors that relate to your hair, eyes, skin, or the pink in your cheeks, one or some combination of those, it makes you incredibly approachable, which is great information for if you're in a meeting where you need to be approachable or put people at ease or connect or have very easy rapport. It's a great way to do that. And you can see here with Laura, again, these tones over here, first of all, it's very distracting, that print, because it doesn't, partly because it doesn't relate to her. That shade of yellow doesn't work for her. It's just very busy and the colors are off. When she's in these gorgeous shades of teal that relate to, that balance her natural coloring, relate to her hair, all of that, then we see her and it helps to enhance her, which is always what we want our colors and our clothes to do, is to bring focus up to our face and have people be able to notice us and feel like we glow. All right, so accessorizing on Zoom. You can see today I'm wearing a necklace here. And I love jewelry, so whenever I'm wearing a solid color, I will either have earrings or necklace or both on. Mine don't, I did move my screen back a little bit for this meeting so you could see my necklace. But as you can see, I tend to be very close up to my computer. And so you only see a little bit of my necklace. And I tend to wear slightly bigger necklaces because those are me. This one over here, these are all from a class I teach, an online class that I teach about fashion and style. So I love to show a variety of things that I feel good wearing and that reflect my personality. But you definitely, jewelry is a way, particularly if you're wearing a solid color, to bring a little more personality to your style, or even another way to kind of frame your face and bring focus up to your face. And then prints also, these are 3 prints that work well on me. There's this sort of a little bit of a tie-dye teal, and you can see pretty much what Erin was saying earlier is this teal always relates to my eyes, always. I wear a lot of teal. I love teal. And teal is a great color on a lot of people. I happen to like animal print. It relates to I mean, there are lots of different tones to animal print. I need ones that are really warm because they relate best to my natural coloring. So there's a connection here between my hair and that color in the print that I'm wearing. And then having a little bit more bold print, but still it relates to me with the teal and the design. I can wear almost any shade of green, a lot of shades of green out there. So it's not distracting. It does draw focus to my face. All right, so that's a little bit about color. For fit, we want to avoid anything that's really wrinkly. Like if you have a collared shirt and the collar is wrinkled, don't wear that, or press it, or throw it in the dryer, or whatever it is you need to do. Obviously, you're only seeing a little bit, so the wrinkles are not a huge issue because there's so little of the top that you're seeing, but still good to know. Stay away from anything fussy that you're not only that is distracting, but also that you might have to keep adjusting because it will be distracting. And generally choose fitted versus something really oversized. Be careful of if the top you're wearing has seams on the shoulder, make sure the seams aren't droopy and so that the top looks really like it doesn't fit you. Make sure the shoulder seam's hidden in the right place at the shoulders. This is not as big an issue here because we're seeing so little of your body. Now, tops to avoid. I was on a call one day with a woman who was wearing, it was a friendly call, so no big deal, but she had on actually a tube top. And she basically looked naked when she was on the call because I could not see the top. So I do not recommend that in business. You probably wouldn't do it anyway, but just, you don't want to get on the call and think, uh-oh, I shouldn't have worn this top. Don't wear anything with a big giant print right here because who notices her? And she's lovely. All we see is this big giant flower. Be careful about, graphic prints are very in style right now, but be careful about anything with wording on it. Not necessarily because you'll offend, although that can be an issue, but more because people are going to keep wanting to read it. And they're not going to be noticing you. They're going to be reading your shirt. This print over here is, I know we can't see all of her head, but this print is too big, bold, and doesn't relate to her coloring. So all we notice is this print. We don't notice her. So stay away from prints that overpower you. Be careful of tiny stripes. They will vibrate on screen and it can make people's eyes crazy and definitely draw focus away from you. And I'm not a huge fan of a very pale gray. There are very few people who really sparkle in a faded light gray like this. So if what you want to do is stand out in a very authentic way and have people notice, bring the focus to your face, I would avoid this really light gray unless you're sure it's a color you look amazing in. All right. The third part of all of this is self-expression. And I call this with my clients reflecting your inner beauty. Who are you on the inside? It's really important that you give people visual clues as to who you are. It just helps you to establish rapport more easily and let people know a little bit about who you are even before you say a word. So here is Sharon. All of my clients, when I work with them, we come up with 4 words or phrases that describe who they are. So with Sharon, one of her inner beauty words is that she's naturally radiant. You can see that from her smile. She is just naturally radiant. But over here, there's nothing wrong with that outfit. It's not a terrible outfit, but it does not enhance her natural radiance. And the top on the right, she calls this her angel shirt, which I totally love because it has really cool sleeves. She feels naturally radiant in it, and the shirt itself is naturally radiant. Now, if she were wearing this to a Zoom call, this was for before and after photo shoots, so we did everything in the background of white, and it does stand out a little, but I would probably make sure that her background was not white, so she didn't disappear. All right, here's Meryl. Meryl is someone, 2 of her inner beauty words are that she's quick and she's powerful. And yes, there's some semblance of that in the print on the left, but it's a little bit distracting because it's a little bit busy. And putting her just in a beautiful color with very clean lines and a necklace that just fits perfectly in there, it allows us to see her, and it also speaks to that quick powerfulness of who she is. So prints sometimes can be distracting. They have to be just right to not be distracting. Jackie is someone who is, her inner beauty words are richly expressive, and she's playfully fun. So neither of which really do you see here on the left, and that gray black tone, particularly it reads more gray than black, does not support her warm coloring. It's way too cool, it's way too busy, it's way too faded for her. She needs, actually her colors, not only is her personality richly expressive, but for her what's really great is that it's very easy for her to express that richly expressive part of her with gorgeous, gorgeous, rich colors. Those happen to look great on her as well, which is just perfect because it goes with her inner beauty and allows her to express herself in a way just basically by changing the color. And Carol, some of you know Carol. Carol has spirited elegance and she's passionately irreverent. So having a little bit of an edgy feel, having elegance in her, the cut and the design and the way things are put together, but there has to be a spirit there. And you can see with her haircut, this is from a few years ago, her haircut that's a little asymmetrical, has a little bit of that edgy feel to it. The cut of the outfit, you can't see it all here, but the cut is beautiful on her. The colors look amazing and they bring focus to her eyes. She looks good in black, but it doesn't always bring out that passion and that spirit and that, yeah, the passion and the spirit, that energy that really makes her stand out even more and speaks to who she is on the inside. All right, so things to consider. We've talked a little bit about this. Why are you on Zoom? Are you there with friends? Are you in a meeting with your coworkers? Are you doing a presentation? Are you at an interview? Have to think about where you're going before you can decide what you're going to wear. There may be some situations, if you're doing an interview at a very conservative company, you may even put a jacket on. I know these days, not everybody's wearing jackets, but there's nothing that says you can't do a beautiful, simple jacket with a beautiful top, piece of jewelry, you're done. And, oh, I also wanted to show you for fun, another way. I showed accessories, but you can also have fun with scarves. So with this top here, I could just, and if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see how to tie it if you don't know how. But if you're going to wear a scarf, you want to make sure that you know how to tie it so you're not fussing with it or it looks fussy. So a scarf is another way to accessorize, show your personality, be warm if you're cold, any of those kinds of things. Bring a little color to your neckline. If you're wearing a neutral color and you want to add a little color, scarf is a great way to do that, or a print that isn't overpowering because it only is right around your neck. Make sure it's in your great colors though, remember that. Should you wear makeup? I like makeup. I wear makeup. If you happen to go to my website, you'll see a makeup video that I have where you'll see what I look like without makeup. So you'll see it makes a big difference for me, and it just helps me feel even more confident and more visible because I have very pale eyelashes, eyebrows, they disappear without makeup on. But I don't believe in telling anybody they have to wear makeup. I think makeup is a personal decision. If you wear it, just make sure you know how to apply it so it's enhancing you and not overpowering you. Or make sure the colors really support you and aren't fighting with your natural coloring. So those things are all important, but whether or not to wear makeup, totally up to you.
I actually have a question about
Sure.
makeup, Ginger. One of the things that I have struggled with on Zoom, I have, as you can see, I have small eyes. Mm-hmm. And so the instinct, I mean, if you're doing your makeup, is to draw more attention to the eyes and try and make them bigger with, shadow or liner or mascara. But when you're on screen, then that actually can look very shadowy. Mm-hmm. So do you have any tips for that kind of situation?
So what I generally teach people is how to line their eye. So what it does is define the eye and not add a lot of heaviness or shadowy feel or smear easily. So you want to line your eye right in the eyelashes. And you can use a powder, you can use a pencil. You have to be really good with the pencil so it doesn't get too thick, particularly if you have slightly smaller eyes. You don't want anything too heavy and thick because it'll just feel too heavy and thick. But lining the eye right in the eyelashes, and do it before you add any mascara. The other thing, do you wear mascara, Erin?
Yes.
Okay, so even getting a mascara, even that lengthens, may also help to open up the eyes a little bit. And sometimes what I tell people, and you may have to experiment with this a little bit, is only line the top. You may not want to line the bottom because that might make your eyes feel more closed up, but lining the top will define the eye. And also for people like me who have lighter eyebrows, defining your eyebrows, although right now I know with my bangs and my glasses, you may not be able to see my eyebrows, but they are very pale. And so when I define my eyebrows, it helps to frame my eyes and my face. So I would just do a deeper color, but just very thin line right in the lashes.
Thanks. We have a question about rosacea too. Do you have a makeup that you like that is good to use for that?
Well, I recommend doing a light, and it depends, I don't know how much rosacea you have, but it's the redness that you want to subdue a little bit. And there's two places I buy makeup from, and I always forget which one has, I think it's Tarte, T-A-R-T-E. I think they're the ones that have really nice concealers, a million colors. And they're very good about doing exchanges if you get the wrong color. There's also it's not a brand. I also have a foundation that I love. It's technically not a brand. People can private label it. So Susan, if you feel like sending me an email, I'll be happy to get you a link for this brand of foundation that I've used for a million years and a lot of my clients use. And it's very natural looking and just helps to soften things a little bit. But you might also need, depending on how much rosacea you have, you might also need a little bit of foundation. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. I'll write that down. Okay, I will send that to you. All right, now the other question people have here is, do you just dress from the waist up or head to toe? And I know it's a big joke out there that everybody says they're wearing the pajamas on the bottom or other things. Here's what I do. You can do whatever makes you feel comfortable. When I am doing a presentation or something where I am front and center and I want to make sure that I'm feeling empowered and totally connected, I dress head to toe. Like right now, I've got a whole outfit on because it just makes me feel more centered. When I'm just meeting, with friends, or I have a mastermind group that I meet with regularly, I may wear yoga pants on the bottom and just put a pretty top on. So it's a personal preference, but if you really need that extra boost of empowerment, I recommend dress head to toe. Comfortably, I mean, make sure that you're not uncomfortable because that won't make you feel good either, but dress head to toe. All right, and I just saw that Janet wants the makeup stuff too, so I will send that. Okay. All right. All right, so just to review, we have setup and lighting, your background, noise control. These are all things you want to connect with, and I know you're going to get the recording for this, so if you need to go back and look at anything, if you didn't take a screenshot or whatever, you can go back and review it. The whole thing about professional courtesy, and then of course, what do you wear? So those are all the things that we covered today. If you do all of these things, you will feel great on Zoom. It will just make you feel empowered. That's sort of my word of the day.
Jen, someone actually asked if you would share the slides as well as me having video. Is that a possibility?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can send you the PowerPoint. Absolutely. Let me make a note. PowerPoint. Thanks. Yep. I will do that. Absolutely. All right. So keep it simple. Just to review, because I know this is part of the reason that you're here. Beautiful color. Beautiful color. When in doubt, wear a shade of blue or teal. Nothing fussy. Check your teeth and hair. Express your personality. Who are you? Make sure that's evident, and smile. And oh, Jill, you're on too. Okay. Oh, I know your email. All right. And Erin mentioned that I could share a couple of quick special offers for you. So if you don't know what colors look good on you and you want help with that, I do color analysis. I do it in person and I do it also virtually. If you're local, it's always preferred to do it in person, and we do shields and all kinds of things now that we need to do. But you can get $50 off by using the coupon code Lexington. It's good through August 22nd, and you can use it either for in-person or virtual. And then if you need even more support, I do have a class, a 6-week online class called Create Your Personal Style in 6 Weeks. It's a total blast. We're about to go into the 3rd session. which will start on August 12th. And you can get there by createyourpersonalstyle.com or email me. I can answer questions, whatever you need. But mostly, I mean, the focus here was to help you feel more confident and put your best self forward on Zoom. So I hope you found it helpful. And I love that you all were asking questions and so interactive. I always love that too. And Erin, thank you. And Carol, thank you very much for inviting me to do this here today. It's been great.
Thank you for being here. We have like 2 minutes left. So if there are other questions, I want to make sure that we get those in too. At this point, people can feel free to unmute themselves and just directly ask questions too.
Yes, and I can stop sharing so I can see everybody too.
So Ginger, I actually had the pleasure of working with you many years ago when I was employed at State Street.
Remember.
Yes, and you did a phenomenal job. You can't tell by looking at me now, but I do promote your brand quite a bit too. And I think one of the main things I'm learning right now is I'm the one that's working with internal lighting. It looks absolutely abysmal. So I'm going to invest in that though too. I may follow up with you a little bit about the makeup. We're going to be conducting a lot of client calls because no one's meeting personally anymore. So the makeup is going to be very, very important, and also the style of clothing. So I'm going to follow up with you on that. But thank you so much. You're spot on with all those.
Thank you, Patsy.
Yeah.
It's great to see you again.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Someone just asked, is my screen background right now okay? Susan, can you say something so I can see you?
Oh, she's muted.
She's muted. All right, hold on. Let me
There we go.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Yeah, your background is great. See, that's a great screen. Yeah. All you need is a light. You're wearing a gorgeous top. The color is fabulous. And you just need a light in front of you and it'll be great.
Steve, I'll come in.
Just a light in front of me? Okay.
Yeah, you'll need one of the ring lights. I would recommend getting a ring light.
In front of me. Okay, great.
I told Ginger I could show. I have a tiny ring light on, and without it, it's not a huge difference.
Yeah.
But
you're getting what's happening now is more consistent. Before you were just getting light on one side of your face.
Right.
You've got a lot of natural light in there.
Right.
That just makes it more consistent. So, that's lovely too. Facing
my back works.
Oh, there you. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. You see how you go into shadow. Excellent.
I had a question, Ginger, about Zoom's got this touch up my appearance feature that you can turn on.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I have it on. I don't know if it really does that much, but I have it on.
Okay.
It does. I think what it does is it kind of smooths things out a little bit. I think that's
I was playing with it. Yeah, I was playing with it just before we started, and it. So for me, I have a lot of kind of pink here. It kind of blended that out. I noticed there was like a particular wrinkle on my chest that just disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in favor of that. That isn't.
Yes, and you can get to those 3 dots that you mentioned earlier. Go to the little video camera and push on the 3 dots, and you'll see. What do they call it again?
I think it's touch up my appearance.
Yeah, touch up my appearance. Just click on that. And you can
where is that on the screen though? I can't see it.
If you go down to move your cursor and go down to the bottom left, you'll see it'll say stop video.
Yep.
The little arrow to the right of the stop video. Click on that little arrow.
Yep, I got it.
And then you'll see something in there should say touch up my appearance.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's the difference right now. I have it on.
Okay.
And now off. So it's
subtle. It's subtle, but it's hey, we can.
I look a little smoother through.
Yes. Yes, just a little tiny bit. Yes.
Do that again, Erin, so we can see the difference.
Oh, sure. So that's off. Okay, so I would be looking like right here, and even the lines around my mouth a little bit. If I turn it back on.
Yeah, it just softens it ever so slightly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of diffuses. It diffuses things a little bit.
But the nice thing about it is, unlike the virtual background, if you move, it doesn't mess up the way that it is. Yeah.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I have two places where I do Zoom. This is my workspace at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's a busier background, I think, than would probably be terrific. The other thing is that I'm in front of a window with natural light, and it makes my skin color pink.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm on my iPad in my kitchen, which is the other place I do Zoom meetings, the light is really warm, and my skin tone is much more like Erin's. Or like yours, much more natural.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to invest in a ring light. I think
Yeah.
that might make a difference if I want to work at my desk in my office.
So Fred, I'm changing the color on my ring light right now. This is the warm. That's the cold.
Oh, the warm is much nicer.
And then that's the like blend. And just, I mean, this is my ring light.
Oh, there's that. Yeah, that's like mine. Yes.
It's a clip.
Get that on Amazon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it was about $20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're great. And it gives you the option. I like that you have the option of playing with the tone.
Oh, and you also can change how light or dark it is.
Yes.
Just, the intensity of it.
Yes. And you can do that with the big ring lights too. They have a little thing where you can make them really bright, and sometimes it's too much, or tone them down. And some have, the very big ring light that I have has little things that you can put on it to make them warmer too. So little you can snap off the light colored ones. And I never do it, but you can do it. Oh, and thank you, Jill and Janelle. Thank you for your kind words about my course too. So yes, great. So if anybody else has any questions about Zoom, you're welcome to email me, ginger@totalimageconsultants.com. If I can answer the question, I will. What I would suggest is just go play with some of these things, set up Zoom and try different things, because you can do it without actually being on a call with anybody. And that way, when you get on the call, it all works. So
Good.
Great.
Thank you again, Ginger.
Excellent. Ginger, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. This was great.
And as I said, I will have the video up by tomorrow, and I will post Ginger's slides alongside it as well.
I will send those.
All right.
And I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here for having your colors done. You saw those, the color wheel that Ginger has, and I've carried mine with me for, Ginger, what, 7 years, 8 years?
Oh my goodness, at least. Probably more than that. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, I'm wearing the black that you tell me not to wear right now, but I came straight from work.
Right. Well, that's what but no, I did mention how you look good in black, but look at what you've done with your glasses. So you've got your spirited elegance in your glasses and your earrings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent. I love it. Great.
Ginger, I love what you said about not having, putting your face up there. I mean, very few of us are surprised with a Zoom meeting. I mean, it's coming.
Right.
And so I love what you said about putting your live face up there. And, sometimes you just can't, right? You put your name up and everything, but we had a chamber meeting this morning, and I think I'm going to make it a rule.
I mentioned exactly that to Ginger before we started, because what drives me nuts is when people disappear, but only for a couple of seconds, and then all of a sudden they're back, and you don't know why, and then they're gone again, and then they're back. And I mean, it's even more so when I'm talking, right? But even if they're not talking, watching some square flash on and off is distracting.
Back and forth and back and forth. And I get it. Once in a while, you just say, "Oh my God, I just can't." Or you've got a kid here and you're calming a baby, whatever. There's some valid reasons. But when it's a business meeting, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's a business meeting. And if it was in person, you don't sit there and, I mean, you don't do this, right? So I think that it's a really, really good point, especially as a business meeting. You're not surprised with it.
Right.
I really
can always write in the chat, one time it was a personal call with somebody on Zoom, and my doorbell just kept ringing. And so I said, "Give me 1 second, I'll be right back." I just jumped up, came right back again, but I didn't turn off my camera. I just said, "I'll be right back." And I left and I came right back. But I would have put it in the chat if I had to, write it there, so people are like, where did she go? It's I don't know. I think we have to be careful about all of those things, because that person thinks she was probably doing a good thing he, whatever it was, by clicking off, but it's very disruptive and distracting to do that.
Well, see, here's my dog is starting to whine right now, so I'm gonna.
Yes, great. So Susan asked about the ring lights. You'll see in the slides when you get them that there is a link there for it. And I think Erin has a link for the small ring light that she has, and I think I do too. So feel free to email one of us and we can get you those links as well. So. Well, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Good to see you as always, Ginger. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.